great honour to be here. It's a great inspiration to be here. What I want to do is to ask two questions by way of introduction. Why is sustainable energy so important, and how can it be encouraged and fostered? The answers to those questions may be obvious to you. Probably they're obvious to many of you, but they're not obvious to everybody. And we have to learn to articulate them well. And one of the ways we can articulate them well is through the kinds of examples that we see here. Why is sustainable energy so important? Well, we're the first generation which, through our negligence, could destroy the relationship between human beings and the planet. We're on track for, in 100 or so years, something like an increase in global surface temperatures of about 4 degrees centigrade. We haven't seen that on this planet for 20 or 30 million years. We have no idea how humans could adapt to that, except to say that it will be with extreme difficulty. Hundreds of millions might have to move, and that would likely result in serious conflict. These stakes are enormous. So the first reason why it's so important is that we're on a path with unsustainable energy which could be, probably would be, deeply damaging if we stuck to it. The second is the environment is deeply important beyond climate change. Air pollution, water, degraded ecosystems all matter to human well-being, to the standard of living of so many people around the world, whether they be in Los Angeles, Beijing, or in rural Africa or rural India. Those in-house air pollution, for example, we all know is one of the great killers, second only to water in many developing countries. So the environment matters deeply, and so does development. The two defining challenges of our century are managing climate change and overcoming poverty, and if we fail on one, we will fail on the other. We cannot talk about climate change separately from development. Not managing climate change will destroy development, and if we try to manage climate change and the environment by apparently placing obstacles in the way of development, we'll never create the political coalitions that we need to combat climate change and promote a much better environment. That's the depth scale of the challenge. You can be daunted by that, but you shouldn't be, and the people here are not. And once you start to look in the details and what you can do, you become much more optimistic, because you can see so many examples of the ways in which you can combine climate change, better environment, greater resilience and development. System of root intensification for rice, for example, is a clear example of the way in which you can emit less greenhouse gases from the emissions from flooded fields. You can have a system which is more robust against inclement weather, and you can save on energy and water. It's all those things. It's climate change, it's inclusion, it's development, and it's adaptation and resilience. And it's those examples that inspire you to see what seems like a very daunting challenge is a daunting challenge, is manageable, and we're showing it's manageable. So how can these changes be fostered? Well, we know good government policy, delivery, institutions, prices for carbon, research and development, infrastructure, finance for the kinds of activities we're talking about. And it's our duty to press for these. But we also know that governments don't always deliver. We know that governments need encouraging, that governments need pressure, that governments need to understand not only the scale of the problem, but that there is actually an attractive response to these problems. For my sins, I was chief economist of the World Bank for 3.5 years and spent a lot of time talking to prime minister and finance ministers, most of whom are rather lonely people, who want to talk to somebody who's not their own civil servant and is not from an investment bank trying to sell them some dodgy financial product. Though I would say this or that, and they say, well, thank you very much, Professor Stern, that was very interesting. Can you give me an example of somebody who has done what you've just described? One example is worth 500 regressions. This is crucial to persuasion. It's crucial to inspiration. There is nothing more powerful than the telling example. And what we've got here is a whole bag full of telling, strong, powerful examples. They're not only wonderful for what they do for the people involved, they're also wonderful for the challenge of making the case to those who don't understand that we can change radically, we can find a different way of doing things, we can find a path to sustainable growth, and that actually sustainable, inclusive growth is not only attractive and on offer, and the examples show that it's on offer, it is also the only path to overcoming poverty in a sustainable way, which is on offer. There is no other way. If we reject it, we will spiral downwards. If we accept it and follow the examples that you're given, it's actually an enormously attractive route that we can follow. So I salute and congratulate you all, and thank you so much for asking me to be here.